This model is looking at the digestive system on a flat board. So as we go through the different parts here, we'll go through from top to bottom, so mouth right through anus, going through different parts and pieces of the board as we can talk about them in the order of the food flow. So we'll start primarily up in the mouth. So we're getting back up to the top, and we'll start with the lips and the oral cavity. So if you start right here, just position that. Starting with the lips up front, we have then the vestibule as a space between the lips and the teeth. From the teeth, we go to the oral cavity. Now, when the mouth is closed, most of the oral cavity is taken up by the tongue, this large muscular tongue. We have the uvula on the back, so posterior side. We have the space here is the oropharynx. Then we have the laryngopharynx down here. The epiglottis is this flap right here that closes down when you're swallowing food or liquid, and move down into the esophagus. So let's reset the camera and I'll be right back. Now if we follow the esophagus down, we'll come to the stomach. Right where the esophagus meets the stomach, this is the lower esophageal sphincter. Now the stomach itself is going to have these ridges inside, these rugae. It has 4 regions as well. You're going to have the first region right here being the cardia region. Then you have the fundus region up top here, the body, and the pyloric region. Right at the end of the pyloric region, right here, is the pyloric sphincter. Then you have the lesser curvature and the greater curvature of the stomach. On the outside here, this would be the greater omentum that is cut, so you can't see the whole thing. That would be the greater omentum. There would be a lesser omentum in here, but it's not visible in this model. Now going beyond the pyloric sphincter, this is then the start of the duodenum. So I'll be heading down there. While we're in this view, let's look at the liver over here. You can see the gallbladder is this green part with the cystic duct running from there. You have the right lobe and the left lobe of the liver. So if we move down, we'll have the head down a little bit lower here. Right below the stomach is the pancreas. The pancreas is going to have the main pancreatic duct running through here. With this branch coming off the top is going to be the accessory pancreatic duct. So we need to reshift the camera a little bit lower again. So now we can see the actual intestines as far as what we're seeing in the field of view. From that duodenum came down and went into all this mixture. Now, the small intestines have 3 regions. The duodenum is the first part, jejunum is the middle, and the ileum is the end. Be careful of the spelling of ileum, I-L-E-U-M. Think of the E for eating, because if you say it's I-L-I-U-M, you're talking about your hip. So I-L-E-U-M. And you can see a little bit of the ileum right down here, just as it gets into the large intestines. So right there where it meets, that's the ileocecal valve. This goes into the cecum, which is part of the large intestines. We can go up the ascending portion of the large intestines, or the ascending colon. We then can come across the transverse large intestines, or transverse colon, and down the descending colon, or descending large intestines, into the sigmoid colon, and down into the rectum. Now, a few things to pick up that we skipped over at that point. This curve is the right colic flexure or the hepatic flexure, that little curve of the large intestines. This curve of the large intestines right here is the left colic flexure, or called the splenic flexure. Each individual section is called a haustra, so each one of these sections is called a haustra. And then you have this line that's running in the middle of the intestines, the large intestines. That line is referred to as the tinea coli. There would also, in reality, be these little fat droplets attached here. Those little fat droplets coming off the large intestines would be called the epiplotic appendages. And going back just above the top of this transverse colon here, it's referred to as the mesocolon. So that little bit of membrane that goes back behind it, that is going to be the mesocolon. So look at the digestive system.